welcome to the show. This is Raven, the talk show maven, and you are tuned in to Super Bowl Monday. We have a very special guest. You've seen her for a moment. Her name is Lynn Pierce, and Lynn is actually one of the first experts that I really connected with when I first got started. So I'm just so thrilled to have her here and for you guys to actually get a chance to meet somebody that oh my God, I have so much honor for, because you know how it is when someone is a big part of your life, you just never, ever, ever forget them, right? And that's exactly what's happened to me. She's someone that I've never forgotten. And I happened to see her post something about a week ago, and it made me think, oh my goodness, I really need to connect with this lady. And I reached out and asked her for an interview, and she said yes. So I'm thrilled to bring her on to you. And I'm going to share a little bit about her. So hold on one second. Let me just bring her on. And Lynn Pierce, she is well-known, sought-after expert. For sure. She's been around for a good while, and she's built a successful business, probably several successful businesses. I met her when I was doing the Women Power talk show, and she, you know how you guys, I always talk to you about being bold and reaching out to and ask the experts for a interview. Even if you don't have an audience, even if you're scared shitless, can we just say that? You know, just to be bold and go ahead and do it. And that's what I did with Lynn. You know, I reached out and I was just so thrilled that she said yes. And not only did she say yes, she really actually helped me, step into my boldness. I'm just going to be frank. She really did. She helped me step into my boldness. She helped me to actually, learn the tricks and trades of the internet, I guess you can say. And I'm so glad she did. So let me tell you about her. Now, she's written several books. I know one is called, I'm probably going to get it wrong. I'm trying to look it up real quick, but I know it's Breakthrough to Success. It has a longer title than that. I'm going to have her tell you a little bit about it. She's been away for a while, and now she's back, and she's going to be really pouring it on strong, I guess you can say, and getting her name out there. And we're glad to help her in doing this because, like I said, she's just an amazing, amazing person. Her name is Lynn Pierce, author of Breakthrough Success, 19 Keys to Mastering Every Area of Your Life. She founded the first major event for women information entrepreneurs. It was called the Women's Business Entrepreneur Summit. This is in 2004. So I think I must have met her around 2007, the second year of me being in business. Now, Lynn is a successful businesswoman for 40 years, and she believes there's never been a better time in history for women over 50 to claim their power, reclaim their lives, because the old glass ceiling that women fought has been surpassed by the age of ceiling. So we're just excited to have her. I'm excited. I can't even get the words out. That's how excited I am. So I'm going to just shut up and bring her on because I'm so thrilled she's here. Lynn Pierce, let me unmute you. How are you doing? My goodness, it's been such a long time. Oh my God.
I'm doing great, Raven, and I'm happy to be here. I was happy to reconnect with you and see all the amazing success that you've had in the last 10 years. It's really been wonderful to catch up with you. So I'm excited to be here and share about women being empowered after 50 with your audience.
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear it because I hit the big 6-7 this year. In fact, next week. So,
Wow.
I really believe, for me, I know for sure things have gotten better for me. My belief level has gotten stronger. I've gotten over a lot of the junk that I guess you could say where I was stuck at before. And that's been a good thing. And I think that's part of us being able to embrace who we are at whatever age we are and not look at the fact that you're 50, OMG, I'm 50 now, but to look at, okay, great. What haven't I done that I still want to achieve? How do you feel about that?
I think that's absolutely true. And I was trying to think, what month is it? When am I having my next birthday? And next month I'm turning 62. And this morning I said
Oh,
happy
okay.
birthday to someone on Facebook, and it said they were turning 50. And I thought, oh, I'll have to invite her into my group for empowered women over 50. And I thought, wow, 50. It seems like such a long time ago now, and yet there, most of the time, if I think about how do I feel, I still feel like
Uh-huh.
I did in my 30s. So I'm sure you feel the same way, that nothing really changes for us internally, and the number is really insignificant in the big picture.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you this. So what do you feel well, tell us a little bit about, was there any fear at all? Was there any regrets at all? Because I know a lot of people feel like, oh my goodness, I missed it all. Fern, by the way, Caslow says, hi, Lynn. Hey, hey, hey.
Hi.
And let me see. I see my good friend Ashley. So, hi, Ashley. Glad to be here. And yeah, so Lynn, tell us about that. I mean, was there fear? Was there regrets? Did you feel like a lot of people I know feel that, oh my goodness, I missed it? Can you kind of share that with us?
No, I actually, I guess because I started in business in my 20s, I knew in high school I wanted to be in real estate, and my counselor said, "You're too young. Nobody's going to buy a house from an 18-year-old that looks like she's 15." So, but he didn't tell me when
Mm-hmm.
I would be old enough to do it. And I think since I started in real estate in my early 20s, that every decade I've felt like, okay, now I have more credibility. Now I have more credibility. Now I'm a real professional woman. And so I've looked forward to every decade, and I was really excited about turning 50. And the women, professional women that I associated with, when I said, oh, I'm turning 50 next month or next week, or I just turned 50, the first thing they would say to me is, oh, congratulations. And then it surprised them so much that they had said that, that they'd say, I don't know why I said that. And I thought it must be something in my energy that's making them feel like they should be saying congratulations, because every single one of them was shocked that that was what they said to me. So I think it's
Right, right.
all in how we internally look at it ourselves that makes the difference. So no, I don't feel any older. I don't feel like anything has passed me by. I'm excited about the next 40 or 50 years that I really believe I have in front of me because of how I'm living my life as being ageless.
Yeah, being Asians, and you've done a lot. I mean, you're an amazing speaker and trainer. You know, a lot of people write in to me and they're like, I've always wanted to speak. I've always wanted to do so much more. And I feel like, maybe they're going to look at me and say, well, they're looking for newer, people that know more about technology. You've been able to sustain being an amazing, phenomenal businesswoman, even during your break, your name still being out there honored as a top influencer. How were you able to do that? How were you able to sustain that?
I think, the internet was younger when I got started in 2001. And when I hired a mentor, I hired them
Mm-hmm.
planning on doing exactly what they were teaching me how to do. So when they taught me how to do something, I did it. And it seemed like most of the other people that I met at seminars, a couple of years later, were coming to my seminars. And they were saying, I'm still stuck. I still don't know what to do. And so based on those people and what they were looking for, that's how I decided what products I needed to create, whether it was personal growth or spiritual or like you can see on that slide there, I see turning your passion to cash. A large part of my business was teaching people how to create a business from their passion, from their life purpose. So discovering what that was, and then how do you create products and become a speaker and do radio shows and all that from what really makes you happy. So it evolved organically, and back then it wasn't as difficult to have, be able to put my name in there and have 10 pages all be my stuff. It's not easy anymore. It doesn't work that way. I'm no longer 10 pages in Google when you type in Lynn Pierce. There's now, everybody in the world that has their name, their social media profiles are on there, and it's a whole new ball game. When I came back after 5 years, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Everything about, well, not
yeah.
at least 50% of marketing has completely changed, because back then social media was more fun and connection. It wasn't so much about marketing and selling, and all of that focus kind of wears on me now. It seems like the good part of social media is gone.
Yeah, it's gotten to be pretty challenging, that's for sure. In fact, Robert Stern, a good friend of ours, and I don't know if you know Robert, but he is a social media expert. He just said hello, and I always have to go because I just can't keep up. Are you familiar with Robert? But if not, you definitely want to follow him and connect with him for sure. Now, I want to jump into our topic today because, we started off talking about age and stuff. And I know one of the things you wanted to talk about as far as stepping into your boldness is you wanted to share some things about being bold, empowered, and ageless, body, mind, and soul. I truly believe, and I like to get your insights on this, that, we do have to step it up. Like you said, things have changed. Life has changed. Business has changed. And, this is a time to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, especially if you're, 40, 45, 50, 60 and up. You want to even do so more so. And you have to do it in a BOLD way and take fierce and bold steps, and I know that you're a big believer in that as well, because like I said, I learned how to take them, from learning the things that I knew from you. So why don't you just share some of the thoughts as to why that is so important these days?
Well, I just think that when it comes to being bold, you have to be the one that empowers yourself. You have to give yourself permission. It has to come from you. And then you teach other people how to treat you by what you will and won't allow. But, when I was younger, I was this, balls to the wall realtor, and I was just so driven and just going constantly. And I had to be number one. I had to be the best. I had to beat everybody else. And all my goals and all my focus was on having and doing. And then I found myself in a 10-year abusive marriage while everything else in my life was just on fire. I was, number one. I was winning all these awards. I was making a lot of money. From the outside, even our marriage looked like a fairy tale. People were always saying they wanted to be me. And back in the 80s, before OJ, there was no public discussion of domestic abuse. There was just things that happened. And so later, much later, when I would every once in a while tell someone about it, the first thing they would say was, I can't believe a strong woman like you would find herself in this situation. And the fact is, what it taught me was that I was creating a vision for the life I wanted to have, which I had been doing since I was a teenager. But I was creating it as a big picture of what I wanted my business to look like, where I wanted to live, where I wanted to travel, what I wanted everything to look like. But I forgot, besides the having and the doing, was the being, was the emotional side of it.
No.
And sometimes, even last year, the first thing I did when I came back into my business was do a summit interviewing women our age, over 50. And and what I found was a lot of them had similar situations come up where they knew what they wanted, but they forgot the details. And I found myself over and over saying, be careful what you ask for, because that's what you're going to get. But if you don't ask for the right thing, you're going to get something that you don't really want. So you also have to be aware of the emotions that are connected. And I think when I got breast cancer in '99, and I looked at how did this happen, it happened in large part because of emotions that had been stuffed that I didn't want to deal with, because I was so in my head of doing. And I realized that I still was being terrorized in my head by the emotions from that relationship. And because I didn't do anything with them, it showed up in my life in the form of breast cancer. So that was the first thing that I had to address. And I think that's a big lesson for women, is we can't have a lopsided vision, or we'll suffer in our health, we'll suffer in stress, and we're unconscious, not knowing where that's coming from.
We got a comment in here from Fern Caslow, and she says, love what Lynn just said. Let me just put this on the screen so everybody can see it, and you can see it, Lynn. You empower yourself and teach others how to treat you. That is so right. Thank you for putting that statement in there, Fern, because you're absolutely right. That is so true. And in our business and in our life, we have to let people know exactly how we want to be treated, how we want to be recognized, how we want to be acknowledged, and we got to let them know what's acceptable and what's not. So, yeah. I learned that the hard way. I think I was damn near 60 when I learned it,
Yeah, that's how we learn. We learn all our lessons the hard way. If everything came easily in every area of our life, we would just be rolling through life, but we'd never learn anything. We'd never grow. We'd never change. All of our big lessons in life come from learning the hard way. We have situations that we have to deal with, and you have to be bold, and you have to say, okay, I'm going to take this situation, and I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to empower myself, and I'm going to decide what I want this new outcome to be. And that's what you did in the lessons that you learned, is you made a decision, you empowered yourself, because empowering is a decision that you make. And you made that, and you shifted your life because of it.
Oh my God. Yes. I shifted so much, so much. And it's a good thing. And the good news for everyone that's tuning in, and first of all, we want to acknowledge you that are watching live. We know most of our viewers always come back and put the replay. So we always like to acknowledge you too. Please put replay if you're listening to the replay. But Robert and Fern, and then let's see, Ashley, thank you for joining us live. And the rest of you want to join us live, we're at the facebook.com/talk show Maven, or just put in Talk Show Maven and you can engage. And we kind of flashed real quickly by mistake, to be honest, what the challenge is for today. But we're going to show it again, because we always have our guests give you the Super Bowl challenge, because I'm not about just you coming and listening and watching. I mean, yes, that's great, whether you're watching live or replay, and we love it. But there's nothing like watching or listening and then implementing. Isn't that right, Lynn? Because we can go on forever just watching and listening. I know that's what I did from you when I watched you, I listened to you, and I did what I seen you do, because I knew that I needed to get unstuck. I needed to go from being, at that time, if I don't know if you remember, I was like 56 or 57, and making $10 an hour, pretty much a little over that, working 20 hours a week. And I remember asking you, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? Remember you were in my first product, how to turn a telephone into a cash cow?
Oh, yeah.
And you talked about turning your passion into profit, remember? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. And that's what we can do. Just because we have a hobby or a passion doesn't mean we can't make any money from it. And that's what I learned from her. But we're going to go back to the topic of today, which is, be bold, empowered, and ageless. I'm not a body, mind, and soul. And what do you mean? Be bold, empowered, and ageless body, mind, and soul, Lynn.
Well, I think it all works together. You can't compartmentalize like we were just talking about. So for me, having a foundation of personal growth and spirituality, having my morning spiritual time is something that I've done for more than 25 years. And that's the foundation of my day. It's you need a base, you need beliefs, and something that strengthens and empowers you, that gives you the self-esteem that you need. A lot of times women abuse themselves. Women that say, "Oh, I would never let someone do this." Well, the way you talk to yourself, the way you treat yourself, you're in an abusive relationship of one. And so having that personal growth and spiritual foundation allows you to not victimize yourself. And then where we're talking about that, you can have success in areas of your life and then have another area of your life that's a train wreck. And how that affects everything else, how it led to my breast cancer, because the power that you have in your life comes from your ability to deal with these situations and making a decision to say no more. I'm going to change this.
Yeah.
And when you find yourself in a situation that does require bold change, it's all about where your head is at. And when you make that shift in your head and you make a decision that you'll no longer tolerate the way things have been, and you choose what you want to have your new situation be. So you create a new vision for yourself that has the details that are what you really want to be, do, and have, all three together. Then that's how you get out of those situations. Viktor Frankl said that nobody but you determines your attitude. No one can make you feel something about yourself except yourself. So even in the most horrific situations, you're the one that decides how to interpret what is happening and how you're going to take it in and what you're going to do with it. And so it's all up to you. And that's why it's about being empowered and ageless in your body, mind, and soul.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me just ask you this now. I know, you went through the tough time with cancer and everything. Was that when you realized you had to create your life differently? Is that when you felt like I need to take a pause, or, how did that affect you moving on?
Well, I think there's different levels. Like when I was a teenager, I realized at 16 that I didn't want the life that I saw ahead of me. And at 16 came to the conclusion that if I wanted something different, I had to create it myself. And that put me on a path of, back then were called psychology books, and then became self-help books, and then personal growth and all that. So the name has changed, but the process has been the same. So I had that epiphany at 16, and then I had another level of that when I was trying to get out of that abusive relationship. So that was the second time, and that was in the 80s. And then more than 10 years later, the third time I had that up leveling and realizing I needed to go deeper and create a vision in a different way was with the breast cancer, because then it was all encompassing. It wasn't just, I think the first few times it was more about survival. Certainly for the in the 80s, it was all about survival. It was about getting out of there alive. When I was in my teenage years, it was about creating a life I wanted to live. So each big situation that we find ourselves in pulls a different part of us into what piece of our vision needs to be changed. But now when I teach people about creating a vision for their life, we do it on every level. You can't just take a surface level and look at it. You really do have to go deep. So yeah, everything changed. I mean, I had been eating healthy, and a huge passion of mine was health and nutrition and mind-body connection since 1981. I certainly didn't think that I would end up with breast cancer at, was I 43? So I was as shocked as anybody. And I thought, okay, time to up level this, time to pull all those books from my shelf and figure out if I created this situation in my body, how am I going to uncreate it? And that led me to go deeper and deal with emotions I hadn't dealt with, go deeper in my knowledge of health and nutrition and what my soul really wanted, which led me to a new career that took me back to the US and doing something I'd never dreamed of, which was becoming an entrepreneur and an author and speaker and mentor and all those things. I was very happy in my old life here in Cabo. It was a great life. And at the time of the breast cancer, if someone would have said, would you ever leave here? I'm like, no way. But the more internal work I did, I came to the conclusion that there was something bigger waiting for me and it required me to leave. And so I left on faith, not knowing what that was going to be. So yeah, it's big transitions in our life that are painful at the time, become those bold moves that we make that really take us to the next level in our life. So there's always a golden lining in everything that feels bad at the time.
Yeah. And it's it really takes a lot of boldness, and I really want to honor you for what you've gone through, because I know it's not easy anytime we're facing anything like that, just to even have enough in us to just push past all the on the surface stuff and the deeper than that, everything that's going on, to look or to hold on to faith and to hold on that there's more, and to hold on that this too shall pass. And I think that's when you really do have to just really go into the super bold you, and just have the strength to fight whatever it is you have to fight, whether it's an illness, a disease, or your business going up and down, or relationship, abusive relationship, or just a relationship that's not going your way. It takes a lot. It really does. And a lot of us, as we mature in our age, I think we feel kind of like life has beat us up. You know what I'm saying? Have you had clients that felt like that? And I would start questioning if they have enough in them left for the fight.
I think so many of us that are called to do something big in life goes through a period where we have a dark night of the soul. And it could be a matter of months, it could be a matter of years, depending on how deep inside you need to go to bring out, to have that phoenix rise from the ashes of you have to go really deep to come out really high. And I think the longer and deeper the dark night of the soul, and the more you're thinking, oh my God, is this ever going to end? That's when you know that something huge and something powerful is coming. And if you surrender to it and be with it and allow yourself to be in it and experience it, because nothing will change when you're fighting it. You have to surrender and say, okay, let me really be in this experience and see what's here. And then make a plan. Surrender. Because when you're fighting, nothing can happen because you're fighting against yourself. There's a lesson there. You're saying, I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn it. You can't make me learn it. I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to learn anything. You can't make me do it. And when you go, okay, I don't know what it is, but I know it's something big and I'm not getting out of here until I learn it. Just tell me what you need me to do. I'm listening. And just listen. That's where that spiritual foundation comes in really handy, is being able to listen and trust your heart, trust your gut, listen to that inner voice in your head. Instead of hearing all the, you can't do it, you're not good enough, why do you try to do that? Don't you know Susie over here does it 10 times better than you do? And instead of listening to that, listen to the inner voice that's saying, I have a plan for you. There's something big I want you to do. And when you're done going through this, you're going to teach other people how to get through it. And you're going to be a super strong, bold, empowered woman from this experience that you're having now. So let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it.
You got to go through it one way or the other. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Release the resistance for sure.
Yeah.
Why are personal growth and spiritual growth the foundation of your life? And maybe give us another example on how they allow you to be a bolder, empowered woman of the 60s, in the 60s.
Well, I think that, when I first started reading books in high school, it was books that I was looking for an answer to make sense of my life, because I had a very difficult childhood, and I needed some answers. I needed to figure out how to shift that and move away from it. And then as I started growing and I found other teachers, and I found Wayne Dyer in his first book. So I was there at the beginning with him. And I swear it felt like he was writing every one of those books for me, because he'd write one and I'd read it. And I'd have all kinds of questions in my head that I was going to ask him. And then his next book would answer all those questions and take me further. So he was my first mentor. And then
Wayne Dyer? Okay. Yeah.
And with 20 years almost behind me, from 1972 to I think 1990, when Nightingale Conant actually called me on the phone and told me that I should buy Tony Robbins' course. I had been buying things from Nightingale Conant for I don't know how many years. And that is the only time ever in my entire life. So I know that was a spiritual thing. That it was like, okay, Nightingale Conant doesn't just randomly make calls, and so I'm like, okay, I get it.
That was interesting.
It was I don't know, twice as much or 4 times as much as the other Nightingale Conant programs, and I looked at it, thought it looked interesting, but that literally saved my life. I don't know if I would have survived long enough to get out of that relationship if it wasn't for going through that 30-day program and then making a plan. So that was another pivotal situation with a personal growth mentor. And at the same time, my spiritual life was, going parallel to personal growth. So it was opening more, and I was discovering more and going deeper and learning more. And in 1994, I started studying A Course in Miracles, and I read from that every single day. I meditate every single day. I created a program called Change One Thing, Change Your Life, which I really believe was a gift from God to me, because it has worked miracles in my life. It's a 40-day program, 40 days of lessons. It's a personal transformation system is what I call it. But I do that all the time, and I created that program in 2001, and I'm doing it right now. So, I'll go through cycles of those 40-day lessons. So there's different things that I add to my practice. Sometimes, depending on what's going on in my life, my morning practice might be an hour. Sometimes
Yeah.
it might need to be 2 hours or 3 hours. When I was going through my divorce 10 years ago, I remember saying, God, I just think I've got some more work to do here, but I don't have any more time. And literally, almost the next day, I started waking up an hour earlier and feeling as
Yeah.
rested
You
as
find
if
the
I
time.
had gone to sleep. Yep, it gave me
Yep. You find the
time
time.
to think.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. You can stretch your day out, by just getting up a couple hours early, going a couple hours late. I used to do that and still do it now. I just recently, you talked about meditating, just recently joined a group that meditates in the morning at 5 o'clock. And I tell you, it's hard for me to get up at 5. I was getting up at 6, but now I'm getting up at 5 and I'm like, it's struggling. I have those struggle times, but lately I've been really pushing myself to get up and go. Actually, they don't start to 5:30. So I just need to get up at 5 or 5:15 so I can be awoke. And when I really push myself, Lynn, I feel so much better by the time they take us through the breathing exercise and helping us to release all the negative stuff and the things that we're holding on, like we were talking about earlier. And my day just starts and it's like popping, and the days that I missed, I feel myself dragging. So it's just, and I think that's a part of us stepping into our super boldness is to just do the things that others won't. Who is that? I can't think of the guy that came up with that quote. And I think it's Jerry Rice. He said, I will do the things that others won't so I can live my life tomorrow like others can't. And I remember holding on to that quote early on because anytime I wanted to give up, and even still now, when I feel like, oh my God, there's no more fight in me, I just want to, just retire for the next few years. And then I keep telling myself, do the things that others want so you can live your life tomorrow like others can. Okay, you're in your 60s, 3 years shy of being 70. You want to be set up at 70. You don't want to have to work. You want to work when you want to work. You still got work to do, girl. And to get that extra push. So I said all that to say, whenever you feel like there's not enough time, remember what Lynn just says, remember what she had to do. You guys just have to find some time at the beginning of the day, find some times at the evening, work when the house is quiet, when the phone can't ring, when the kids are asleep, when the husband or whatever has been taken care of. And you'll be so surprised how much you do. We're going to wrap it up. I got a couple more questions that I want to ask you. I knew this was going to be a little bit longer, Lynn, just because it's been so long. I don't want to let you go. Okay. And for those of you that'll be listening to the replay, type replay and type where you're coming from. And for all the replay viewers today, we're going to make sure that you get a little gift from me. So make sure you type replay. And I got a little surprise for you. I will send you my Talk Show Magic book for free so that you guys can get out there and interview your greats, your sheroes, your heroes. I'm telling you, it will change your life. That's pretty much all I've done in the past 11 years. It's been 11 years, Lynn, since I started my first show, Women Power, that's now the Amazing Women Power Radio Network. We've just been testing live stream for the past year or two, but we're actually airing this on our station as well. And I got to tell you, it's me interviewing people like you and Alex Mendozian and Les Brown and Brian Tracy that has really helped me heal and get through the pain of being an emotional abuse child and then a young adult and then an adult and get through the bad marriages and stuff. So what do you do? What do you do to get through your stuff that's been able to push you through, like the cancer thing, but even in business, what is your bold step that keeps you ageless, body, mind, and soul?
I think it really is trusting your intuition, trusting that you have all the answers. And the other thing, the thing that drives me that I didn't know about until I became an entrepreneur was that when you have a why that's bigger than you, when it's not about you anymore, it's about other people and how you can serve them, then you're willing to do things that you would never do under any other circumstances. Like even though I had a very successful career in sales, the only way that happened, because I was scared to death of going and talking to people, really beyond shy. And I did it because I wanted to help people find the perfect house for them. I was passionate about serving them. But when I became an entrepreneur and I was creating my first product, and I was at an event, I was in a group of about 500 people that was being mentored by Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen at the time. And we were having an event in LA, and Mark came up to me and he said, I want you to come up with 10 titles and get my assistant to type them up for you and make 500 copies. And I'm like, what? He said, at lunch today, I want you to go to every table of 10 and tell them that you're going to have them circle the title that they like on the page, that you need their help. And I was like hyperventilating. I'm like, you don't understand. I can't talk to people I don't know. I don't care if we're all in this group together. I don't know these 500 people. I cannot walk up to people and ask them for a favor. That's another no-no. Don't ask people for favors. And he said, you have to. And I thought, yeah, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do for this title. Here's 500 guinea pigs. I have to do this. Plus, I paid him a lot of money to make me do it. And so I did it. And I was scared to death. I walked up to the tables and I just stand there because I didn't even want to interrupt to say anything. And by the time I got to the last one, I was just going up there and going, okay, so it's 50 tables of 10 people. And I was just saying, hey, this is what I need. And then half an hour later, I'm in the women's bathroom, which at an event like that has a line a mile long. And I'm asking the women in front of me, behind me, I'm handing flyers to women as they come out of the stalls and saying, I need your help, I need your help, I need your help. And I'm like, who is doing this? I almost felt like someone had gone into my body that I've never met before and was doing this stuff, because in that moment, I was fearless. I became a different person, and I was willing to do things that I would have never done if it was just for me. But when you have a bigger mission, it takes you way outside your comfort zone, because it takes you outside of yourself.
Right. I think Zig Ziglar said, when you help enough people get what you want, you get what they want, you get what you want. And that's so true. Sometimes we have to push beyond our pain, beyond the things that got us stuck, and really start thinking about, like you said, a bigger why. Sometimes the why isn't strong enough for us to make any moves. This same thing happened to me with my mom. When I seen her in the hospital and tubes on her and stuff, that's when my why became big. For all those 55 years, I was trying to live my life and, and reach dreams. I couldn't get there because my why was not strong enough. But the minute mom got sick, her being the matriarch of the family, that's when things got, the why got really big. I got to ask you this real quick. I've been flashing this picture. Tell us about this real quick. And then we got one more minute and then we got to get out of here.
That was, okay. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had already booked a trip to China. And this was in 1999, when there was almost no tourism of people outside of China into the mainland of China. I had been to Hong Kong a couple times, but so when this happened with the breast cancer, my husband said, well, we should cancel the trip to China because you aren't going to be able to go. And I said, I'm going to China. So I didn't cancel it, and everything was fine with the breast cancer by the time that came, and that was a few months later. And so we spent almost a month, a group of 12 people with a personal guide, going all through China, seeing very few people that weren't Chinese. And this was on the Great Wall. There was a place where you could put on these costumes and they would take a picture of you with the Great Wall behind you. So these silk robes, and then the headdress was very ornate, that it was things that Chinese royalty would have worn. And I always loved that picture.
Mm. Yeah,
but it does
I love it. I
require
love
an
that.
explanation. It's
Yeah,
not
well, I
an
kept showing
Epcot.
him like absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so I know that you said that it is possible to have areas of your life operating at a 9 or 10 and still have another area that's a train wreck. Share your thoughts on that, and then and then we're going to have you give the viewers the challenge for the day as we wrap up.
Well, I think what happens is the first areas of our life that operate at a 9 or 10 are the things that are the easiest for us. So, it could be your personal relationships with friends. It could be your marriage. It could be how you are with your kids. It could be how, involved you are in your community or your spiritual life, or you're really into fitness, or you eat super healthy, or your business is just on fire. Whatever the different areas are in your life that are important to you. I mean, we don't forget about the things that you don't care about. Just look at the things that are important to you. But not everything is operating at that level, because we all have strengths and we also have weaknesses. And for me, because of the way I grew up, having issues with self-esteem and self-worth led me to a place where I was convinced by someone who was trained in psychological warfare, let's say. I don't want to say too much about what it was, but they were a specialist at it. So they were especially good at undermining your confidence, and then add in that, the abuse that they came from. And you think you'd never allow yourself to have something like that happen, but there are ways that it does happen. And so that was the area in my life that was more operating at a 1 or a 2. It could be for you that everything in your life is great, except you just can't get your health right, or you're eating well, but you can't get a handle on your fitness. Whatever it is, you can't say that because everything else is so great that it's okay. It's just one area, because like I said before, there's stress, there's baggage that comes with that. Nothing in your life is operating at a low level without there being underlying baggage and emotions that are making that happen. So for me, it showed up as breast cancer, besides the apparent physical and psychological abuse. Later, it showed up as breast cancer because I still hadn't dealt with it. And your ability to be empowered comes from how you deal with those situations. And it's a decision that you make. Everything in life is a decision that you make. You think that you don't have the power, but you do. Nobody has the power over your life except you. So you decide.
It's all about making the decision that you want more, and you're willing, like we said, you're willing to do what it takes. Hey, if you just joined us for the replay of this awesome interview, this is my friend and one of my very first mentors, Lynn Pierce. And Lynn, if you're stuck rather, and you want ready to release that and move forward and make a lot of happen in your business or life, you want to contact Lynn, and she's going to let you know how to get in contact with her. Today, we've been talking about being bold, empowered, and ageless, body, mind, and soul. And to be honest, long before Lynn became a mentor to women entrepreneurs, including one of mine, she was anything but empowered herself. I guess you can say that she was an introvert. She says in high school, she had such low self-esteem, she would walk through the halls looking only at the floor. Oh my goodness. I remember feeling like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in high school.
Mm.
Actually, in high school, I was pretty bold. It was when, as I grew up, I became more of an introvert. And I always tell people, me behind the mic, I found my power behind the mic. It pushed me from being an introvert to an extrovert, but I still have those introverted moments because that's me. That's still the stuff. You know how it is, Lynn. You may push past it, but part of it is still in you, and it's easy to flare up. Certain reminders will take you back there, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it's finding mentors and masters out there that you can lean on and not try to do everything on your own will help you get there. Certainly my way of doing it was interviewing, but everybody has different ways. So as we close out, why don't you share what the Super Bowl challenge is that you want to give the listeners, and I'll post it on the screen. Bam, there you go.
Okay. Let's see. Can I see it on the screen?
Yeah, well, it basically was you want them to look at where they are, where you are giving your power
Yeah, where are they
away.
giving? Look at where you're giving your power away, and then look at how you can shift that, because there is an area in your life where that's happening, where, like we were just saying, where you're less than 100%, and you're giving your power away when you do that. And so it's important that you look at it and then figure out, what is your plan? What decision are you going to make, and what are you going to do to turn that around and come from a place of being empowered? Because if I could start out with the childhood that I had, and the abusive relationship that I had, and being so shy and everything else, and get past that and create the empowerment that I've created for myself, and also that because of the things that I went through and because of the lessons I learned, I'm able to then turn around and share that and help other women to be empowered and create the lives and businesses that they want to have, which I never would have learned any of those things if I hadn't gone through all the things that I went through to get here. And now you know that's the whole thing about looking for a mentor or a teacher, is you want somebody that's been there, done that, and can save you a whole lot of time and trouble, so you don't have to figure it all out for yourself.
Absolutely. So tell everybody how they can connect with you and what's up new for you coming up, I should say.
Well, my website, agelesslifestyleafter50.com. If you go to /manifesto, you can get a guide there to creating your own personal manifesto. And I think that having that document of the value statements that you live by, what you stand for, what you won't stand for, is the first step to creating who you want to be. So I would say go there and get that, and then you're on my list and you'll be hearing from me. And I'm pretty sure that somewhere on this Facebook page you'll be able to connect to my Facebook page, and we can be
click on her pretty face. Yeah. Things have changed so much. What you say, Lynn? I'm pretty sure somewhere. Yeah, boy, everything is technology bound right now, but I love it because it's just like when we finish our show, we take it in. There's so many other platforms we put it on because we know most people come back and listen to replays. So it's just a matter of understanding the technology and how to best use it. And guys, you want to understand and really get how you can step into your boldness and have those Super Bowl Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We chose Mondays because that's the first day of the week, and we want to help push you out there and step into your super boldness on Monday. So the rest of the week will be a breeze. And the best way to do that is to take advantage of the challenges that our guests give you. And today, Lynn's Super Bowl challenge to all of you was look at where you are giving your power away and see how you can turn it around and empower yourself. You know, flip the script, so to speak, make it happen. As we close out, give them 3 simple, easy breezy ways that they can be able to flip it and, you know, turn it around.
I would say look at what is it that you're afraid of? What's the fear that's keeping you stuck? And take that fear and say, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then look at okay, now here's the worst thing that can happen. What would I do if that happens? How would I handle it? And then how can I make sure that that doesn't happen? What steps can I take now to make sure that that doesn't happen? So it's the steps that you would take around the thing that you fear the most, and that's what's really holding you back.
Yeah, that's what's holding you back. And I would say, and let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. You know,
I mean, that's the thing. Once you realize that the worst thing isn't so bad, and that you do have a plan, or you can create a plan so that it doesn't totally decimate you, then you're empowered. Then you've got a track to run on, and you can turn things around very easily, and that fear no longer controls you.
Oh. And that's what it is. And once you let that fear go, that's when you realize that you're not even stepping to your boldness. You're stepping into what we call your super boldness. And that, my friend, is a good thing. Take it from someone that's been there, done that, drank off the coffee cup, wore the T-shirt. I know all about it. Well, we want to again welcome you to the show, you guys, whether you listen live or replay. I know we got to share it out on Lynn's page, all my pages. So we just appreciate you either way. Thank you, Lynn, for showing up again in my life. I was so thrilled to see your name. You know, I had to reach out to you. Yes, absolutely. We're going to go ahead and close out, everyone. My name is Raven, the talk show maven. My guest that's next to me, the girl, the pretty one in the pink. That's Lynn Pierce. Give them your website one more time, Lynn.
Ageless Lifestyle After 50.com.
Ageless Lifestyle After 50.com. Hey, I'm Raven Blair Glover, known by many as Raven the Talk Show Maven. Thank you so much for showing up, whether live or replay. We so appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and let you get back to your Monday. Don't forget the challenge. Let's see, do we have that on the screen? Yes, we got this challenge. So go ahead and remember, it's not about watching. It's not about listening. It's not about Lynn. It's not about me. It's about you and you stepping not only into your boldness, but stepping into your super boldness. So we'll see you next week.